going to give you a peek at the exciting opportunities that we have. A quick overview, and I'm going to be brief. Y'all hear enough from me, but I think the picture tells a story right here. It's not often when you have a project of over 30 acres in the core of the city that you're able to create a park. And so this is a gift to our city that is alongside a thriving neighborhood that is parks are very popular, always busy in this area, but then also next to the new development at Floyd Casey along a creekway as well. So we've got some project goals and recap we're going to hit on, and then we're going to see some of the vision that Conners and our community have come together to create. First and foremost, with this regional park, we knew one of the main goals was to create a park that can be used all abilities, and that's exciting in itself to finally get to the point to where Waco is going to have an all ability inclusive playground that we are proud of. And so that's number one, is creating, one of the inclusive nature of this park. Then it's capitalizing on the connectivity to creek and nature. This park was a critical component of our master trail plan that we completed last year. As you know, we also have an existing track and field facility. But perhaps what's really come on the radar and really, where I mentioned that word opportunity, is the cultural component that we've come across in working on this park. And it's our chance to look back and see the Hispanic heritage that lies within the Hispanic community. How do we recognize our local leaders and make this park an interpretive educational opportunity for our children? Bit of the process, and I'm just going to point out, anyway, when you have a park like this, it's a large investment and a lot of things go into the planning, especially next to the development. I'll just point out that we are here. As we're capturing the vision and presenting that vision today, we're going to go through a couple-month process to finalize that, get the cost analysis dialed in, and we'll go straight into schematic design and construction documentation. So we have been doing a string of public meetings, open houses, field surveys, really coming together with our stakeholders as we've gotten to this process of getting the conceptual vision established. Timeline, I mentioned where we go from here. Couple months for the completion, and then we'll be going straight into that construction document, schematic design. I'll note we're on a track to bid the project out late 24 with that groundbreaking early 25. So under that year process, we've got this concept dialed in, and we're aligning that with the $22 million allotment for design and construction. With that, I want to turn it over to Mr. Ladner, and he's going to walk us through some of the details of the project.
Great, thanks so much. So want to just start by thanking the Parks Department for all the support through the process, as well as the City Manager's Office, who's been at multiple of our meetings and has also been guiding us, Councilmember Rodriguez for her insights throughout the process, and of course the community. As we noted, we've had a couple great stakeholder meetings. So 15 to 20 slides here. We'll move quickly, give everyone a great update on where we're headed. So this gives you the context, as Jonathan mentioned, the Floyd Casey future development to the south there of the project, the existing track and field, and then this beautiful blank canvas to a certain extent of open space that we have the opportunity to develop here for the city. Want to just peel back a little bit. If anyone came out to any of the engagements, you saw a lot of this content. This is a bit of how we move through a park design process. This is our analytical investigation where we're going to look at the site, both ground truth it with our feet, but then look up like a bird and really explore the different elements of the site to understand the most appropriate locations to put programming being playgrounds, lawn areas, trails, etc. We did do a really exciting deep dive into both the history of the site, the history of the community, and the history of Waco. That's really important to telling the story of this project as we continue to move from a vision into documentation and making sure that we're continuing to recognize that history for the region. I won't spend too much time on here. There's a lot of words here, but I do want to touch on some of the big goals that we've been working on with the community, which Jonathan touched on as well. But the idea of creating a destination, establishing a park as a must-visit destination within the city of Waco, celebrating history and culture. You'll hear us say that multiple times throughout the process, as well as when we come back during documentation. But how can we honor the history of the neighborhood, distinguish the park's identity, utilize regional materials, and establish the site as a unique trailhead and corridor reflecting its distinctive character? Inclusion will be a big part of this park. We're going to talk about that with the All Abilities Playground. Celebrating the community, mobility, of course, is a big item through our trails. Can't do a park without thinking about environment, and obviously we just talked a lot about environment and water and context, and then coming back to ideas of art and economies within the project. This is just a quick infographics which we pulled out from our online survey, so I'll touch on the engagements in a minute, but along with the engagements, we did have an online survey where we had over 350 responses, and this is a series of metrics that goes into the project booklet that again goes into how we develop the park over time. So jumping into the vision. We had two very exciting open houses, one on October 26th where we had over 30 participants, and then that community survey. We called this the Values Workshop. So this was before we drew anything, before we came up with any designs. We had a series of images where we were just getting feedback. We had some coloring tools for kids that came out. And then Community Open House 2, which some of you might have come out to, we had two overall framework plans, which were basically program diagrams for the full site. Over 30 participants, again, a community survey, and we had everyone weigh in on the items that they felt were most desirable for the project. We took those ideas and we put that together into what you're seeing here, which is the updated framework, and then I'll flip in a second, not yet, to the illustrative plan, but just very briefly from left to right to touch on a couple of the elements we're looking at. There's an existing parking lot that we'd like to improve. We'd like to redefine some additional overflow parking, a future drop-off. There will be some energy spent to enhance the existing track and field. We're going to do a little bit of work with some sports courts with the tennis ball and the basketball that you can see up there above the existing building. We want to put a bridge across the existing channel there, the Waco Creek, as well as some restoration for Waco Creek. And then as you get into what we're calling the heart of the park, a new parking area, two new access points, a big, beautiful, inclusive all abilities playground, which I'll touch on in a minute, an arrival court, a small wetland pond where we can capture water and ideally reuse it for irrigation purposes, and then a big, expansive, great lawn and flexible lawn with a series of small pavilions for picnicking. And then as you continue on, we get to Bells Park, where we'll have some improvements to the baseball field, new parking, and some additional picnic areas. This is the overall illustrative. What we showed you a minute ago was kind of the breakdown of the programming, but you can start to see how that landscape comes out with new big shade trees. We'd like to have some very large trees that come out here so we can get the shade during that big summer heat that we have in Texas. But again, just moving from left to right, you can see the track and field, the new sports courts, the bridge, the wetland pond, arrival plaza with restroom facilities, large all abilities playground, beautiful lawn, and then continuing to Bells Park. So a few graphics, want to bring you through it three-dimensionally. This is just an image. Again, remember, we're at a visionary level. We still have multiple months to define this design and document the detailing. But an arrival feature here of a splash pad, a food truck area in the background. You can see a great lawn there with the idea that you could set up a small stage to host community events in the background. Maybe some small gardens in this area. We want to be very sensitive to gardens and maintenance over time, but this would be a key area to potentially do that. The All Abilities Playground became one of the main features very early on. We heard very quickly from the community how important this was. The idea that not only just the community, but that this could become a significant regional destination, a needed significant regional destination. We have an idea, and you'll hear this a little bit more with the Heritage Trail, but the idea of pulling inspiration from the local community and using that to define the overall story of the project and the way that we detail and utilize materiality throughout the project. And so here are just some of the images we started to explore at this early visionary level. We did start to dive in and actually start sketching what this all abilities playground can become. Again, long way to go on this, lot of an additional community feedback needed, but the idea of having an activation motion zone, of having a nature play zone, the idea of bringing art and music out into the project, and then shade. Lots and lots and lots of shade. And then just a quick image of some of these early ideas that we were exploring, the idea of color and using the materiality from our inspiration. We'll have a series of trails throughout the site, large trails where you can come out and run multiple miles that loop back in on themselves, a series of major trails that would be concrete or asphalt. And then potentially some smaller crushed stone trails that get you a little bit closer to the creek edge and nature. We've spent a good amount of time exploring and understanding opportunities of how we can improve the existing track and field complex. We do believe there are a variety of opportunities that can exist within our budget that we're looking at, improving bleachers, redoing the track surface, redoing the interior artificial turf, a small potential plaza, looking at lighting, scoreboards. We've got a lot to dive into to continue there, but we do feel that there is a priority to improve that facility. And then a few more images. Here would be that beautiful landscape, hilling up to the background, the potential idea of having a stage in the background, integrating an art element from the local community. On the left side of the screen there, from our angle, would be the playground. On the right side, a picnic grove. The idea that you would have a big enough promenade around it to set up market tents throughout. Everything we're doing needs to think about 7 days a week activation, especially the idea of having big events every weekend or small events. And then thinking about that wetland pond, again, something that can capture slow storm water, but the idea that we could also reutilize it for irrigation purposes, integrating local stone materials from nearby, bridging over it, and creating not just a functional amenity, but an environmental educational amenity for school groups to come out and learn about these wetland stormwater facilities. We are definitely looking at creek restoration. There's obviously a lot of opportunities there. We want to be very sensitive to clearing out invasives, working through the erosion and bridging across it. No big concrete channels, just thinking about how we can utilize natural materials to help that creek over time, which will continue to have big water flows through it. So that's the park. We do have one slide here. We just wanted to touch briefly. We are very excited to be having conversations about the Hispanic Heritage Trail element that's going to provide a cultural trail connection through the new development into the rec facility and create that moment where there will be a series of breadcrumbs that talk to the local community through signage and wayfinding and creating just a safe route throughout that area.
Thank you, and we're able to take any questions, of course, and what you can see, a lot of excitement that we have, the cultural components, the educational, the inclusivity, the connections. This is a dynamic project that we're excited to be working on and happy to take any questions or comments.
No question. I just want to say thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for coming in and making this presentation. This is so exciting for me and for the community, especially the Hispanic community. We've never had this opportunity before, so I'm really excited about it. And thank you, Jonathan and city staff for even coming up with this and giving me the opportunity to help. And as I said before, and recognize my two folks that are here, my two ladies that are here that are on the task force. I'd be remiss if I did not name the other guys that are on the task force, and I want to mention Luis Garcia, John Montes, and Vidal de Leon. And also Lisa from the city manager's office that has been there with us, and Jonathan as well. I appreciate it all. I'm real excited about this. I don't know if you can tell it or not. But this is really an opportunity for not just the Hispanic community, but the all-inclusive park we're real excited about. This is a need that is it's very needed here in Waco, and we're glad to be a part of bringing this all-inclusive park into the park that we're redoing at Floyd Casey. So thank you to staff, thank you to the city council, mayor, Jonathan, especially you. You've been sitting right there with us. And our task force is going to continue meeting because we have a lot of more work to do, and we're all excited about it. So thank you all for this opportunity.
Thank you.
I want to thank Councilmember Rodriguez for her leadership in this. This is very exciting. I know I went to the last football game there at Floyd Casey in December 2013. So this is a long time coming in utilizing this property. So thanks to members of the task force, thanks to Lisa, Jonathan, and our architect here in getting this moving. I don't live too far from here. I walked to that game 10 years ago, and so I'm looking forward to my family being able to take advantage of this. The only question I had is, it sounds like this will, based on the renderings, that involve a lot of tree planting. Is that what you're expecting? Which is great.
Yes.
But I wanted to confirm that.
Yes, absolutely. Any of the paths are going to want to have a good amount of shade on them. I think human comfort in Texas becomes one of our biggest aspects with park design. So that'll be really important to get some nice sized shade trees. And then the playground will have a variety of shade trees and shade sails. It'll be extremely important to have shade there.
That sounds great and perfect for our needs, so thank you all.
I'll just make a quick comment. Every time I see this, I'm impressed by the quality of this project and the beauty and really the thoughtfulness that we're going through in the history and the cultural and the community. It seems like you're hitting, as this thing comes to fruition, you're hitting on all cylinders on this deal. And then I will echo everybody's observations on, I appreciate Councilmember Alicia Rodriguez on getting this moving. And I'm happy to see Isabel and Elaine out here on that task force too. I know this is a big project that we've all been very excited about for a long time, and it looks like it's coming to fruition quickly. Good job.
And I'll just jump in and sort of echo everything that's been said. And it is always really exciting when you can have a say in what something as permanent, for lack of a better word, as this will look like. And so I'm proud to be able to sort of follow the lead of my colleagues up here and shaping what this looks like. And I, like Councilmember Holmes said, I'm so impressed every time we see something from this. And I'm really looking forward to what this looks like in practice and the just the space it's going to make and provide for so many people in our community. And like you mentioned with the All Abilities Park, from our community and beyond as an attraction as well. So thanks for the presentation today, guys.
Super fast. Thank you all for the presentation. We appreciate the work that you do in advancing the mission and vision of this council. Alice, you've been talking about the inclusive park for a very, very long time, and so I'm glad that is going to become a reality. The historical aspect and the honoring of the Hispanic heritage and culture in our community is one of those things that we must continue to protect. History that isn't shared is lost, and the things that we don't know about our community will be buried underneath steel and concrete if we don't lift them up. And so I'm very excited about that. I want to give a shout out to whoever said shading was important, because sometimes we have problems with that. And I know that this is going to be a wonderfully shaded facility. I know the other things in the city that need shading will be shaded soon. See how I did that? But in areas where we can enhance, I mean, a park is not a park without trees. And so, I mean, another thing about it is, are we planting aged trees? Are we planting baby trees? Because this takes time.
Big trees.
Got it.
Good answer.
Got it.
It'll be a mix, but we definitely want to get some 6-inch, 8-inch calipers in there and prioritize that for getting some immediate shade.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited, thank you. Oh, where the track is, right? Is that, I know that, you know, we use it for summer track and we use it for those things. Is the field used for something else too? Is it, it's rentals and stuff?
So that is one thing we've looked at. We do see usage of the track
Right.
area, and from private schools, if they use it for indoor, for like shot put,
Right.
pole vault areas. We are looking at how to flex out that space. It was specifically designed as a track, so the configurations and the shape of the drainage of the field, that is something we're diving into.
Right.
To where can we host football games,
Right.
soccer games, or at least practices, so we hit on that 7-day-a-week
Got it.
activation that Connors mentioned.
Got it, thank you.
Great work. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.